Hello, and welcome to another episode of Making Comics and Art. This is your host, Peter Palmiotti. Of course, it's me, it's my channel. And if you're new here, hey, why don't you subscribe, like this video, and watch every single other video I have. And always tip your waiter. So here we are. I'm going to try to make regular videos throughout the week. Do my best. So today, I figured how do you design a pinup would be a good topic of choice. So this is a piece I penciled recently. This is regular copy paper. What is it? 8.5 by 11, something like that. And I drew this, and I know Spawn is a popular character, and I had fun doing this piece, but no way I would have been able to predict the engagement that I received. Not that it's, thousands, but for, I post on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Not everything, but, usually at least I post on Instagram. But I got a lot of people liking this piece. And since I want to make my own art, and sell it, I figured I'd do a full-size piece. So 11 by 17, and so that is why we're here today. I'm gonna try to conceive of a full-size piece worth doing. Got some paper, and I made some perfect rectangles. And if you are if you are a fan of Spawn, like Todd McFarlane's earlier covers, probably most covers throughout the history of the book are sort of pin-up-ish, not necessarily, action from the inside. But I do believe, and I didn't research this, I was going to look up some art and get some reference, but I'm doing this on the fly. It doesn't matter the details of his costume or anything pretty much for what I intend to do here. Let me just start doodling what I thought of a first image, which is sort of a close-up. So like head and shoulders kind of action, extreme close-up. What I gather from what people were latching onto is in regard to my piece, because like people say, cool piece, and that tells you absolutely zero about what exactly they're loving. But I believe to a certain extent the rendering, to a major extent, the character itself, because I've done some extreme rendering on just, everyday faces. And some people love that, and some people I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to like it. But yeah, I thought I'd do a full-size piece where, you know, you get definitely his cowl and head in there. Then he has like the Spawn circle images which hold a chain, and then I forget his costume, but like sort of have his chest, and I wanted to do at least one of his hands in your face. So I don't know, like we'll just do this. This is kind of just going to be really rough. But just give me a general idea of where I want to start, at least. Let me do this. Okay. All right, go a little more. Zoom in on this. So yeah, I'm sort of just making this up as I go, but like have a real close up. So, you know, he's got his fist in your face. So, yeah, he's got sort of graphic around his eyes, and it's very inspired by Spider-Man. You know, because you don't really see anything but his eyes. So yeah, like, you know, get the cowl, heads, shoulders, and these things, and chain is what holds his cape on. So that'll be like an extreme close up, and maybe I don't know if I'll do the Spawn logo, but I could write his name up above. I think it's really cool when artists put the character's name on the image itself, and then I'll just gotta remember not to go too extreme with my signature. Sometimes I make it too big. I'll even admit to that. So just do it tiny at the bottom. So that's one idea. And there's a lot I could play with in just that. It would be like, let's actually, let me go grab a piece of paper. Here's a blank. So here's a comic board. I use Canson, but I'll use the back and fill up the whole thing, and you know, it's actually the right size. Like, just the focus went out. Oh, let me fix that. Not sure when that happened, but we'll fix it. All right, there we go. But yeah, if I do it the size of the paper, which I could show you better if I zoom out. Alright, so yeah, this is the image I made, and I could see drawing the head this big and then going down where you have his chest, where you'll have his chest, and then his giant hand coming at you with his this kind of shaped like talons at the end of his gloves. It's surprising that his nails don't dig through the glove, but I guess the gloves are indestructible. So yeah, that's generally just one idea. Another idea, just really quickly, and I'm not even going to worry about the pose itself. Well, let's just say some kind of hero stance. You know. And maybe it's sort of a little bit of a bird's eye, where his head and shoulders are big and his feet are smaller. Think Rob Liva. Then you can have his cowl. And show a lot more of his cape. I forget how big his cape is. But yeah, not necessarily worried about costume design. This is just a rough, getting an idea of different ways we can go. Now, this would be fun because I get to draw the whole costume and get all the Spawn type details into it. Or I can go one more difference, which is to have him within an environment. I'm only thinking one of these two because I can really go crazy with the detail and not worry necessarily about a background. Like I could have a background in them, but maybe just make it mostly black because I want to really focus on Spawn himself. But if I wanted to have, let's say there's a little foreshortening. Like his hand is really in your face, but it's sort of not a side view, 3/4 view. Like this arm could be going way back, and it's tiny. You can have his legs as well, like one's way back. Maybe not this one, I don't know, figure it out. if I choose this one, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm not sure how this would go. Does that cover his face half the time? I'm not sure. But yeah, like have him more posed within an environment, so you can have, like, I should have made him smaller, but you could have like a tree, maybe technically in front of him. You could have a forest of trees behind him. Maybe as Todd was in love with, you know, let me close up on this a little bit. Todd was in love with doing giant moons on the cover. So in between the trees, you can see the moon behind it. Maybe it is like some graves in the middle of a forest. Because that goes with Spawn. Spawn, if you didn't know Spawn's a dead character. Came back to life as a, well, initially he had a limited amount of energy. I think that's probably over with. But yeah, you can have him in some action pose and lots of foreshortening and really showing dimension, and you know, he only has his eyes that he can show, but you know, it is possible to show his like mouth even within the mask a little bit by how you shade it in or do the line work. But yeah, so I'm thinking I want to go with that, really just in your face, head and shoulders and chest, and have one of his hands really in your face, with his, you know, name up above, and just really just go insane with the line work. Really take my time and don't rush it, and do it over the course of a week or whatever. I think it would be a lot of fun, and you know, I can make a pretty penny. So yeah, you know, concepting a pinup, you know, pretty much like concepting a cover, or even to a lesser degree, you know, when you're penciling comic pages, like you have to figure out a bunch of technical stuff, how to pose the characters, how it speaks of the story, and blah blah blah. I don't necessarily want to tell a story other than, you know, he's a badass, and really make the art as beautiful as I can. But yeah, I can light it dramatically. I can, you know, do two-sided lighting, or, you know, just lots of different things. Like, you know, like I was saying with this, it could be a bird's eye view looking down on him, but you know, I can have his arms going up dramatically. If I was to do this one, and where his upper torso is really giant and in your face, and be a lot more dramatic. But yeah, think like old school horror movies where things have the double lighting. You know, even though this is going to be a double black and white piece, I could still show, you know, light and dark and all that and play with it. So yeah, I think I just want to go with this this one. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of friends of mine who I spoke with recently who are going to be sending me a bunch of pinups. Well, one, Rodney Jacobson, he's somebody I worked with previously. He has over a dozen pieces he's penciled. He's an amazing artist. And he showed me a catalog of work he has penciled. And he's like, anyone you want to ink, you know, I'll mail to you. So he's sending me over a dozen pieces, one of which is Spawn. He's got a very elaborate Spawn piece where Spawn is actually tiny in the piece because it's a whole, I think it's a throne chair and skulls and maybe a few women. I forget exactly because I was looking at so much of his art. I could be confusing it with other pieces, but yeah, Rodney's one of them, and another guy I worked with previously, Ryan. I'm forgetting. He has three names. Ryan's really good. He did a 3 female DC characters, Batwoman, Huntress, and somebody else. We did that together, maybe going back 10 years. Anyway, he's an awesome artist, and he's going to do some new pieces actually, and send them my way to ink. And all this stuff will be available to purchase down the line. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. Give this video a like. Share it with your friends if you're so inclined. And you can support the channel, support me by throwing me a tip or becoming a Patreon. Like I said, I'm going to try to get back onto a regular schedule here on my YouTube channel. And, you know, on a regular schedule throughout all my socials. So posting more art, more comic work, and yeah, I'm going to be working not only my own book, Retro, when I can, but a book called Designated, and a secret project I'm penciling, which I might have some news on coming up. And yeah, other things in the works. I got some inking gigs I'm going to be talking about. So I hope you stay tuned, and I'll see you again tomorrow. So have a great night. Keep making comics and art.